Formula 1 2025 saw a rare influx of drivers into the sport. It was the first time we saw full seasons from Jack Doohan, Liam Lawson and Oliver Bearman, and we saw the debuts of Isaac Hadjar, Gabriel Bortoleto and of course Kimi Antonelli. And whilst pressure's ramped up on so many drivers and we've seen Jack Doohan fall off the grid and Liam Lawson demoted to racing bulls, the pressure has finally started to get to Kimi Antonelli. At 18 years old, are we expecting too much from Kimi Antonelli? Or is there a certain pressure that comes with driving in a top seat? Let's dive into the Kimi Antonelli situation and figure out what Mercedes should do next. Quickly, before we go any further into the video, I just want to let you know if you click the link in the description you'll be able to see my written work from the Raw Sports. After every race I post a talking points series and I'd love if you checked it out. Thanks very much. It's important to point out that there's been so many positives for the Italian drivers so far this season. Qualifying 16th in Australia wasn't the ideal start, but making his way back through the field to finish 4th in wet conditions where many other drivers faltered was beyond respectable. Antonelli's ability to read traffic, manage his tyres and stay out of trouble earned him many early plaudits. 6th in China, Japan, Saudi Arabia and Miami are benchmark results for Antonelli, and considering he's by far the youngest and least experienced driver fighting at the front of the field, finishing in front of one of the Ferraris and one of the Red Bulls is a credible result that should be applauded. The highest point so far was his sprint pole in Miami, and even though that race fell apart, he later scored his maiden podium in Canada, holding off Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri in the quickest car to take a 3rd place. And whilst Lando Norris may have crashed into the back of Oscar Piastri, it's important to note that when a clear run is given and the car is underneath them, Antonelli can hang with the best. Since Miami, it's gotten a lot harder for Mercedes, but particularly Antonelli. In his first home race in Imola, he suffered throttle problems from the throttle damper assembly, which meant an early retirement. In Monaco, a mistake in qualifying saw him crash into the barriers on the inside of the Nouvelle chicane just after the tunnel in Q1, meaning he was starting from the back. This effectively ended his weekend before the Grand Prix had even started, because passing in Monaco is so incredibly difficult. And even still, during the Grand Prix itself, Mercedes' strategy was so poor that it failed to score any points at all. Things didn't improve in Barcelona either, as Mercedes' power unit gave up on lap 55, forcing him to park up in the gravel and finish his race again pointless. His fortune turned briefly in Canada, where he scored his first podium in Formula 1. But the weekend after in Austria, it was back to scoring no points at all. A dive bomb at turn 3 on the opening lap of the Grand Prix took not only himself out of the race, but Max Verstappen as well, who at that point was managing to keep the McLarens within reaching distance in the Drivers' Championship. The FIA awarded Antonelli a 3-place grid penalty, though that hardly mattered. Hadjar losing sight of Antonelli in front of him in treacherous rainy conditions saw both crash out of the race, failing to score any points once again. Then most recently we come to Belgium, where Antonelli was knocked out in Q1 in both sprint qualifying and main qualifying itself. Antonelli failed to score any points during the weekend, finishing 16th in the Grand Prix, really failing to cut through the field at all, unlike drivers that qualified around him such as Lewis Hamilton. Since Miami, Antonelli's only scored points once in the last 6 events. We have to also acknowledge that Antonelli's rookie season comes with very unique pressures. Very rarely do rookie drivers get to jump straight in to a top team and have the ability and opportunity to perform straight away. Even championship leader Oscar Piastri for McLaren spent half a season before that team took a step forward to the front of the midfield and later into battling for pole positions and points and podiums, and he had that half a season at the back of the grid to adapt his racecraft and learn the basics of Formula 1. Very few rookies shine consistently throughout their opening season in Formula 1, but that's mainly because they don't get the opportunity to with back of the grid machinery. George Russell could tell you this firsthand, debuting in 2019 for Williams, where he failed to score a single point. It's both a blessing and a curse for someone like Kimi Antonelli to be in a top team so early in his Formula 1 career. If it goes well, you're nailed on as a future world champion like Lewis Hamilton. But if it goes badly, you get dropped, and you might not ever get that opportunity to fight at the front of the grid again, like Kevin Magnussen from McLaren in his debut season. Antonelli's immediate goal should be consistency. He doesn't need to score podiums or wins every single weekend, but he needs to cut out the DNFs, qualify further up the field, and score points regularly. Even if that's just an 8th or a 9th, having those points tick over is a solid platform you can improve from. Hopefully, if he can score points once again, it will build his confidence and ease the pressure coming into the summer break. Hungary is up next, and it's a circuit that Kimi Antonelli absolutely loves. It's the scene where he took his first Formula 2 feature race win last season, and if he can bounce back and score points, it'll hopefully turn things around for the youngster at Mercedes. It could be the momentum shift he needs to get him going back in the right direction for the second half of the season. Long term, Toto Wolff should decide Kimi Antonelli's fate after he's had an opportunity to grow and learn. Any possible loan move to a midfield team like Alpine or Williams could be disastrous for someone like Kimi Antonelli, particularly if he's replaced by Max Verstappen. It could destroy the youngster's confidence and he may never ever return to that top team. Kimi Antonelli has that raw pace and flashes of brilliance like in Miami and Canada that show he's not too far off the mark. When you compare Kimi Antonelli to his teammate George Russell, of course there's going to be a gap. Russell's averaging around a top 5 finish this season and has scored 5 podiums to Antonelli's 1. So whilst the points gap might be 94 points, that's not what should be being focused on in a rookie season. If Antonelli qualifies better and avoids trouble, to convert more weekends into points, there'll be little doubting his ultimate potential. In my opinion, the pressure should be present with Kimi Antonelli, but it doesn't mean we call his future into question. Max Verstappen isn't going anywhere for 2026 after his exit clause was deemed invalid because he'll finish in the top 3 in the drivers' standings at the summer break. Mercedes know they have a unique talent in Kimi Antonelli, but he needs time. Time to grow, time to learn, and time to make mistakes. Rookie seasons are about laying the groundwork, not proving that you're the finished product. Antonelli can easily become the next superstar in Formula 1, and the talent and the raw speed is there. His mindset seems open, humble, and ready to learn, and that's exactly what a rookie driver needs. So I have full faith that Kimi Antonelli will be able to turn it around after the summer break. So what do you think? Will Antonelli bounce back in Hungary this weekend? And how should the Mercedes driver better be supported by his team? Let me know in the comments down below. Once again, just a reminder to click the link in the description to read my written work for the Raw Sports and the Talking Points series, which I just posted one for Belgium just a couple of days ago. Cheers for watching, don't forget to like and subscribe for more F1 breakdowns and content coming soon.